Look at it. Get a good look now. Hey everybody, Jeff Stone here with review number 2 of the year 2023, and we're taking a look at this 13 Steps to Mentalism Deluxe set by Murphy's Magic. Before we do, real quick, would you mind in the comments let me know how's the lighting, how's the audio? The first video I did, the lighting was weird. I had a glow in my head. I think I fixed that. I just want to make sure it's not too dark. So any feedback about the lights or the audio, let me know, because right now I'm not using a microphone, and I felt the audio was okay in the last video. And if I don't have to hook up a microphone, that's one less step between me and getting a video to you guys. And right now the lighting I'm using is really simple. So the less crap I got to do to set up to do a review, the more likely you're going to get more reviews. So let me know how you're feeling. Anyway, moving on. Okay, in 2009, Richard Osterlin teamed up with L&L Publishing, and he made a 6 DVD set where he went through the 13 Steps to Mentalism book by Tony Corinda. I've got each chapter, each step here tagged. There are 13 steps. These were originally put out as like 13 different booklets, and then they were compiled into a book later on. I don't remember the exact year and everything. I could probably tell you the copyright here, but it was sometime like in the 60s, yeah, 1968 is when they did this. So what Richard Osterlin did in 2009, he made a video set where he went through each step. Now each step in here has a principle, and it has some tricks you can do with the principle and some sort of discussion about the principle and all of that. That's in the book. Well, so Osterlin sort of followed that format. Now, for example, step 1 is the Swami Gimmick. Well, there's like 20 tricks with the Swami Gimmick in the book. So it's not like Osterlin's going to do 20 tricks in a row to the same audience using that, right? So you can't really do that and make that video work. But he did do a bunch of them. So what he did with those DVDs back in 2009 were incredible. There's a rating for it. I'll link to it down in the description, or a review of it, I should say, that I did a few weeks back, maybe a couple months ago. Anyway, that review, I gave it 5 stars. It's incredible. It's excellent. So what is this? Well, when Louis Falanga died, Murphy's Magic bought all of L&L's everything. And so they took those L&L DVDs and made them into downloads. And so what this is the download videos. So there's a little card in here that gives you the video code and a bunch of props that are from the book, right? I mean, the book talks about Swami Gimmick, so you get a Swami Gimmick. Let's get a Swami Gimmick. It talks about Billet Knife, so you get a Billet Knife. It talks about Billets, so you get some Billets. There's Blindfold work, so you get a Blindfold in the kit. So a whole bunch of things like that. So the original DVD set, $120 or something like that, is what you paid for it. And again, I gave it 5 stars. Then they made it a download. Murphy's Magic made it a download, and this was before this box set came out. The download set was around $100 and something. I don't remember the exact price, but it was over $100. This whole entire kit is $99 and like 95 cents. You get all of those videos, which used to cost over $100, plus all of the props, right? Most of the stuff is great quality. There are a couple, though, that I got some pretty serious issues with, and we'll talk about that. So probably going to go through the great quality ones first and just kind of get them out of the way. So we are diving into product quality here.
But for now, for your customer's sake, for your daughter's sake, you might want to think about buying a quality product from me.
The product quality on the videos, excellent. If you want to see more details about the videos, I'd recommend you read my review of the DVDs. And again, there's a link in the description, okay? So check that out if you want to know the product quality and all that on the videos. But short version, 5 stars. They're great. The material's great. Everything's great. Okay, let's just go one thing at a time. There is an entire step on blindfolds. It is, I believe, step 4. You can kind of see the steps laid out here, right? On the cover of the book, right? Swami Gimmick, and then pencil, lip, muscle reading, and so forth down the line there. Just leave that up for a second so you can look. So the blindfold, let's just quickly open that up, and there's going to be some weird jump cuts here while I'm doing this. Here's the blindfold. It's actually ginormous, right? It's this. It's pointed corners here. Let me just hold up one corner here. So it's this, like this, and it's kind of silky material. And when you wear it, you're gonna fold it in half. But look, I mean, it's really big. So you fold it in half, like so. I'm gonna blindfold myself right now, but I'm just gonna show you how much room I have to tie this in the back. There's plenty of room back here. I'm gonna just slide it off my head now, and you can see the little tails I have left here, right after tying it. I mean, plenty of room, and that's my head right. So even if you got like a Shaq or an Andre the Giant head, this will probably fit you no problem. It's great. It's not gimmicked in any way. It's just a normal blindfold. It's soft and silky, and it's nice. It's great quality. So that's that. All right, so these are the cards for the Sujan location, and they are colorful cards here. And the effect on this is you have these 5 cards spread out on the table, and you ask one spectator to turn one over, and they're the same on both sides, right? But they turn one over, then they shuffle them up, and then as you take them back and you deal them down on the table, you will know which card they turned over. And of course, people think, well, maybe they're marked, and of course they're not marked, and that's true. They're really not. And so, as suggested in the book, put the cards in an envelope, which is supplied, and these fit in there great. And you can do it while they're in the envelope and do the exact same thing. So they flip one over, they put them all back in the envelope, mix them all up, and then as you deal the envelopes out, you can tell which one that they turned over. And if you know how this works, Royal used to make a little teeny, sort of business card size one that came in the Royal Magic kits back in the day, or maybe it was the Adams Magic kit or something like that. And if you've ever tried to make these on your own, they're a pain in the butt to make. So these are provided for you, and they're plastic. They're not cardboard. So these should last a really long time. These are great. I have no issues with these. That's for the Sujan location. Touch reading. Okay, I'm not going to bother opening this because all it is some envelopes. And then there's this little thing here. I'm not going to explain what they are because if you have the book, and the page number of where it's at in the book is in the written description, and it's also explained in the videos. Okay, but this works great. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. It's for the Just Chance routine. Okay, so no issues there. Great. Now with all this stuff here, keep in mind, Richard Osterland made the DVDs in 2009 with no intention to ever make this kit, right? That wasn't a thing. That was when L&L was back in its heyday publishing all the crazy DVDs with the famous L&L audience that we all know and love. Yeah. It wasn't until years, almost 15 years at this point, where Murphy's Magic now owns the rights to all of that, and they put this kit together. So it's not like in the DVD, Richard Osterland says, oh, and when you open your kit, you'll get this thing and do this with it. No, he just goes by the book, and the book suggests, get some envelopes and get something like whatever this thing is, which you'll see if you get one of these, right? So just keep in mind, there will be a little bit of a disconnect there between what you get and what Richard Osterland talked about, because he was going from the book. And what you get in this kit is the same stuff from the book, but it's not going to be the exact variation of it that Osterland used, because again, he wasn't thinking about this project. In Mentalism, you use envelopes and paper and stuff like that all the time. So this is just a bunch of manila envelopes here, manila-ish envelopes. They're opaque enough, right? And I'll tell you about a use case for them where I tested that out. But they are very, very thin. These are not made out of your typical envelope material. They are like printer paper thickness, right? So they tend, like if you see right here when I'm trying to buckle it, I get this action here because it's just flimsy paper. So these are not the greatest quality here. They're pretty flimsy, and they're not gummed, right? So you're gonna, if you want them sealed, you're gonna have to either get some double stick tape or a glue stick or whatever. But other than that, it's an envelope, right? An envelope's an envelope. And you get 25 or so of those. Okay, we'll talk more about a use for those in a minute. So here you go. There's just there's a bunch of these. Looks like there's 50 of them, and these are pretty thick. They're a little bit thicker than a normal 3x5 card. Okay, and again, in Mentalism, this is just a thing that people use, right? So there's no specific use case mentioned in the book or anything like that, other than just throughout the book it talks about use a file card, use an envelope, and so on. So these billets are great, and what I like about them is they're They're thin. They're somewhere between like the thickness of a piece of printer paper and a note card, a 3x5 file card. Somewhere in between there. What's nice about it is they tear easily for you center tearers out there, but they're opaque, so you can't see through it. So people can't go, oh, you can just see through it or whatever. I tested that out. So these are great. And you get 25 of each of these, right? And the sizes are 3 by 2 inches and 3.5 by 2.5 inches, right? So that's what you got there. And you get 25 of each of those. So those are no issues there. The Billet Vanisher, it's in the book, and you'll know if you look in the book what it is. And why would you want to vanish a billet? When you're doing a billet switch, right? More envelopes. These are also not gummed, right? So you're gonna have to use glue or double stick tape. These are, I feel like I think this is also printer paper. Like you just fold the printer paper up. It feels a little thicker, a little bit. And let's just put something inside of it so you can see if they are see-through or not. And hold that up to the camera there. Yeah, you can see that circle. That's an ESP card in there. So these are see-through a little bit. They're not the greatest quality, right? They are, this is how tall your flap is. So you get a sense of that. The dimensions are 4.5 by 6.5. And you get 25 of them. Okay, so that's what you get there. So next up, let's take a look at third choice here. This is a great trick. It's actually in my repertoire. I do this trick. Now, in the book, it uses playing cards, not ESP cards. Jay Sankey published an effect using ESP cards, using this exact same method of what gimmick ESP cards you're going to get in this kit. And it's based on Corinda's effect called the third choice. So the effect is you show a whole bunch of ESP cards, and as you see, I'm having a hard time spreading these things. These things they stick together. They're kind of a plastic thing. So from that perspective, they'll last a long time because they're plastic, but they're not really good quality here. Okay, they look nice, right? I think they look okay. I'm going to try to do a fan with them, and they're not. I mean, they're just sticky, right? They're not very good. Now, obviously, ESP cards, we're not like manipulating them. We're not manipulators, right? But you have to be able to spread them relatively nicely here. And it's stuck there. So, anyway, the effect is you put each one in an envelope, mix them up behind your back. Mix the envelopes up. The spectator gets a free choice, and it is a free choice of any one of the envelopes. And then we open up the envelope. We, being you, the magician, open the envelope and remove it, and you have predicted it. And there's no multiple outs. There's only one prediction. And it is a great trick. As I said, it's in my repertoire. The problem is, however, that these cards, you see it slides down there pretty good. Doesn't quite go all the way in. Kind of buckle it, get it in there, and that's as far as it goes. I can feel it down there. Close the lid, doesn't quite close over it all the way. That's as far as it goes. It's a tight fit. Now, you have to do that with all 5 cards, right? And you have to do it real time because you have to show them that the cards are all different shapes. Then getting it out, you can't even really buckle the envelope open because it buckles the card, right? So this is kind of an issue here. And so when I reach in to get it, it's very, very, very difficult. I can't even get, you need enough space. Yeah, I got plenty of space to get my finger in there, but when I go in there, I have no room to get my thumb in front of it because then I have to buckle the other way and it's going to rip in fact, I can feel, look at the card. The card is bending there to do that, and it doesn't want to come out. It's kind of a pain to get. There we go, I got it. But look, you can see I kind of damaged the card there. Look at that, right? And so that's no good, and it's very awkward to do it. And if you know how the method works, you're taking a little bit extra risk there when you pull that out, and it's not good. So you need different envelopes. The ones that you're supplied, that don't use them for this. They're great envelopes. You can use them for something else, but not for this. So my thought was use these, because these are just randomly supplied that have no specific use. And so I was thinking, well, we could use those, but they appear to be a little bit see-through, maybe. So I don't know. So you may have to provide your own envelopes is the short version of that. Now, Let's slow down a little bit. There's a lot of stuff here, and this video is probably going to be forever long. So far, this is the only real negative that's come up, right? I want to make sure you guys keep that in mind. The blindfold was great. The color thing with the Sujan location, or the Tele-Thought they called it, great. In fact, the envelopes for that might actually work just great for this third choice thing with the ESP cards, because they're big enough and they are opaque. So maybe use those. The thing for Just Chance, great. Everything so far, great. The DVD instructions, awesome. This is the first real weakness so far, other than maybe the quality of those envelopes, as I mentioned, right? So keep that in mind as we keep going. These cards, not great. Problem is, the gimmicks needed. It's not a standard gimmick that you would see with ESP cards, and so you have to kind of use these if you want to do this trick. So that can be an issue. And these envelopes are no good for that. They're good for other things. Let's look at negative number 2 here. Okay, this is for the Knights Tour. Now, if you know what that effect is, you have a chessboard, place a knight on it somewhere, and the spectator can place the knight wherever they want. And then you, without looking, are able to say, okay, move the knight to this square, and then move it to that square, then this square. And you move the knight to every single square on the board without looking. They're moving it for you as you tell them, and you hit every square on the board and never hit a square twice. So when you do that trick, you need some way to keep track of, so that the audience can visually see that you have hit every square. And so you typically will have something like this, which is what you get with this kit. Now, this is the dimensions of a chess, or the number of squares of a chessboard, right? 1 through 64, right? A chessboard is 8 by 8. As you can see, however, this is not a square, number 1. And how big is this? The way Richard Osterlund does it in the video, which is a good way to do it, and I think it's the same suggestion in the book, is you have some stickers, which are included in this kit as well. You get both of these things. And you have the spectator put a sticker on each number as you land on it, right? So let's say they start with the knight right here on number 28, and then you tell them to make a move, let's say and I don't know the specific order you got to go on, but let's just say 28, we move to 34. That is a valid move, but I don't know if it's the move to do the proper Knight's Tour here. So they will now have placed a sticker on 28 and on 34. You make your next move, and they keep putting the stickers on there until the end. You have this full board covered in orange stickers, 64 stickers, and you've hit every spot. Okay. When Osterlund did it, he had a big board that he made. And again, remember, when he made his, he wasn't thinking about this kit, right? What you get here is made out of some sort of vinylish material, which led me to believe it was probably meant to be reused with stickers, right? No, these are permanent stickers. I'm going to get as close up here on the one. That's what's the residue. I put one of the orange stickers on there, and it got stuck on there, and I had to like scratch it off and peel it off, and you know, it's sort of like when you open a deck of cards and the stupid bicycle sticker doesn't come off good, and it leaves that residue on your box. It's kind of like that, right? That's what's going on there. Well, these stickers are what they needed to have done, is either gave you better stickers that were removable, or made this not as sticky or, you know, as papery, or given some warning about you'll need to laminate this or something like that. And so that's a common theme you're going to find. Other than the billet knife, there's no extra instructions on any of the props. You just have to use the props the way they are in the book, or follow what Richard Osterlund talks about. But again, remember, Osterlund made the videos not thinking about this kit here. Okay, so this board looks weird, but whatever. I mean, that's a preference. If you don't like it, fine. If you like it, fine. If you get this, you're going to need to laminate this, and I don't even know then if these stickers will be too sticky for the laminate. I don't know. So you may need to get your own stickers that are Post-it note style stickiness, something like that. So that's two negatives, right? Now, in the ad copy, it tells you that this is a magnetic billet knife. So I don't feel I'm exposing anything by telling you that, because it says it in the ad copy. Now, it's meant to represent a letter opener. This thing, man, I just found a burr right there. I almost got a splinter. That's not good. This thing is not a letter opener. I'm going to show you. I just got some mail today. I got Genie magazine today, by the way. And I also got, this is my gas bill. I'm going to open this like you're supposed to do it with a letter opener. Now I'm sliding in there, and it's not even, it's, okay, there we go, starting to tear. I get in, and you start getting this kind of an effect here. There, we got a little bit of a tear. That's actually one of the best ones I've gotten out of it so far, okay? So there we go. Now, let's do another one. So the whole point of a letter opener, you're supposed to be able to get in there, and then, so you can do this, and I see I'm kind of doing it in steps here. This isn't too bad. You got to give it a little bit of force. So maybe, you know, it's a little bit better. Now this is pretty stiff, and it's got one of those fake plastic credit cards in here, you know, Join Capital One or whatever. And so this is pretty thick. When Javier on the video, where they do make a video about the billet knife, was trying to open one of these, it basically destroyed the envelope. Wasn't good. Now, I love that they made a video, right? What I wish they had done is, instead of making a video just for the billet knife, they made a video for all the props. Even just sort of an unboxing and saying, okay, here's the Knight's Tour, it's from step whatever, and here's how you're going to use it. You're going to have to laminate this thing, and because these stickers are permanent. That's it. And then here's the thing for the third choice effect, and you know, these are the couple of props that are recommended in the book, and here's the, you know, here's some uses for the envelopes. If you know, because they're just envelopes they give you with no explanation, right? So yeah, if you check in, you know, steps 5, 7, 12, whatever, you'll see lots of tricks, you know, this trick, that trick, and the other, that use the envelopes, or that would use envelopes and billet card, not billets, but 3x5 file cards and so forth. So just to give you some sense of why do I have a bunch of envelopes, right? So something like that would have been great. I mean, that would have drastically improved this, and they would have discovered that those ESP cards don't fit in the envelopes, right? There's a quality control problem there. Okay, so let's talk about this. You also get with this paper clips, right? There's a little weird shape. They're kind of squarish. The part I'm covering there is like square. And one side of the knife, according to the video instructions, is stronger than the other. So they already know it's magnetic, so I'm not exposing anything here, but look at this. You saw just me turning it around, it fell over like that, right? Okay, now so I'm gonna, maybe it's the other side that's the more magnetic side. And look at this, when I try to straighten it, all right, I'm gonna let go. It just spins by itself. So if this is the stronger side, we have a problem because it won't stay straight. It spins that way. No matter how much I straighten it, it keeps spinning back, right? And I'll show you in a minute why that's a problem. If this other side is the strong side, well, you can see when I let go, it just falls down, right? It slides down, right? I hold it right there and it slides down. Well, that's just an empty paper clip. What about when there's actually a billet in it, right? And so there's the billet. Look, just the act of turning it around, that fell out and exposed that. That's now, maybe this is the weak side of the knife, right? Let's try it on the other side. All right, so there it is right there, and you see it already sort of turned, and now I spin it around. So maybe this is the stronger side, and yeah, it's actually holding okay. And notice here that it won't stay, I can't keep it straight. There we go. That's the first time I've been able to get it to hold steady. And it's doing okay, so this isn't too bad, but already it started to move down the knife a little bit, right? And so I'm going to guess this is the stronger side here, but just when I touch it just a little bit, it just wants to move. Now, yeah, we're doing okay here. So a little bit of touching though, and you see how it spins. I'm just trying to keep it straight here. You saw when I let go, it kind of spun it a little bit, and if you just hit the wrong part of the magnet, you're going to have issues. So if you know how to work one of these things and what the purpose is, and you know that oftentimes this is not necessarily preloaded. You have to sort of load it during performance. And so their recommendation is you have it finger palmed, and then you pick up the knife and load it. If you do that, it's hard to get it in the exact perfect correct spot that you need to get it on the magnet. And the other part is, now I have big hands, all right, I'll admit that, but in order for me to finger palm that right there feels extremely uncomfortable and unnatural, and I feel like I'm like making a fist, right? And so now if you have smaller hands, this might be a little bit easier, but this is extremely unnatural. I'm going to make this little makeshift table here. This is extremely unnatural to reach over. Like if I try to stretch my hand out to place that on there without dropping it, right? Because you don't want to drop it as you're picking it up. So you have to kind of hold your thumb there or something, set it on there and pick it up. And the point is it's awkward and it's not smooth. And again, in the video, even when you see Javier do it, you can tell it's not exactly smooth, right? So this billet knife, from what I can tell, is pretty useless. It's not even a good letter opener. It's not very good with the magnets. If maybe you had stronger magnetized paper clips or something, maybe you can increase the power of the magnet. You know, if you've ever done that in your science class where you can increase how strong a magnet is, maybe that would make it better. I don't know, but you shouldn't have to do that, right? And so this thing is probably the only part of this that's pretty much useless. I would assume that if you're watching this, you're probably familiar with what those are. And so I'm gonna be a little less cryptic here, but still sort of cryptic. Okay, you get two styles. You get a boon style, which if you don't know what that is, it's in the book and in my written review on mylovelyassistant.com. I tell you which page and everything, in which, like, there's a whole bunch of different Swami gimmicks, and they're numbered, you know, A, B, C, D, or whatever, or 1, 2, 3. I tell you specifically which one. And then there are two of the other style. It's the one, if you know the style Richard Osterlin prefers, it's that style. The problem is my thumbnail is very short right now. I just happened to have clipped my nails before I started testing this stuff, and you can't use that kind if you have clipped nails. So I am willing to go back and I'll post a pinned comment in a couple weeks saying if having my nails grown out made a difference. I'll edit the written review or whatever. But at the moment, these things do not stay on where they need to be. You get some lead here, so I'll show you the lead. There you go, that's a pretty good shot. There's the lead. You get like 3 or 4 pieces of that. The Boon gimmick has no lead in it. You have to put the lead in. The problem is the lead doesn't fit in the Boon gimmick. It doesn't fit at all. Like, it's too big. The Boon hole is too small and the lead is too thick. So I thought, well, maybe I could, shave it or something like that. But it's pretty sturdy lead, but when I did anything with it, it's kind of splintered. And so I don't know that I could shave it. Maybe I could, maybe I could get some sandpaper or something. But again, that video that's missing that says, hey, here's the Boon Rider, you're going to need to sand the lead down or something. Just something like that would have been huge, made a huge difference. I just called those Swami Gimmick by its real name that we know. That's the word you don't want to say out loud. So sorry about the jump cut there. The lead fits in the other Swami gimmicks just fine. So my assumption is what you're supposed to do, put the lead in and break it off to the right length, and then you keep using that same piece of lead. But again, there are no instructions about that, and I should probably reread that section of the book to see if there's any instructions in there about that. But Corinda doesn't really talk about this specific type of gimmick, so I don't know that that would be useful. But again, that video that doesn't exist would be great. Hey, here's how you put these things together. So the Swami gimmicks are a little iffy, right? So the 3 pieces that I had a problem with is the Billet Knife is the worst. The Knights Tour got some issues that we talked about. The ESP cards for the third choice, not great because they don't fit in the envelope. And then these Swami gimmicks have a little bit of an issue. I'll talk about the rating in a second. I just want to address a couple points here. I get what they're trying to do here. It's kind of like that magic kit you got when you were a kid that kind of got you into magic or whatever. But the problem is a lot of those were a little bit, for kids, right? And I feel like that this is somewhere between a for kids magic kit and an adult's magic kit, somewhere in between. And things like the envelopes and the cards, the 3x5 cards, those are the kind of things that if you're a mentalist, you have those and you can get them for super cheap at a stationery store. And so maybe leave those out and give us a better billet knife, something like that. So there's a few little things like that have an issue with. I did something that I wish I didn't do. And you guys will know, and because you know how I feel about ad copy integrity. I knew about this project several months ago, long before it was coming out. And the team at Murphy's, what they did was they sent me a photograph of all the props. And it had, it has a billet knife, it's got billets, it's got the paper clips, it's got Swami Gimmick, it's got a blindfold, and it had all the pictures and the cards for the Tele-Thought and everything. And then on top of that, you get all the Australian DVDs, and the whole thing's under $100. Whereas, previously, just the DVDs, just the videos were over $100. So now it's under $100 plus all this extra stuff. And so they asked me to give a quote for this, and before it was released, and I did. And I still stand by the quote for the most part, but I wanted to clarify that because that's a big issue to my own integrity. And again, I'm the guy that's out there preaching ad copy integrity. So my quote said something along the lines of, maybe I'll put it up on the screen here, so my words may not match exactly what you're going to see on the screen here. But the quote was something along the lines that with this kit, you'll never have to buy another mentalism prop the rest of your life. I still stand by that for the most part, right? That blindfold will last you forever. These Swami gimmicks, yeah, you might have to replace the lead, but the problem is you have to find lead that fits. I mean, it never did it occur to me that the lead that you were going to get supplied wouldn't fit the gimmick, right? So I feel okay that I made the statement before knowing that, right? I feel that's sort of a reasonable thing to assume. Yeah, you're going to have to replace the 3x5 cards or whatever, but the actual, I wouldn't call those props. But the ESP cards, the Billet Knife, the Billet clips, the Billet Vanisher, the Blindfold, all those things, the color tester thing, all those things is true. You'll never have to buy those ever again. But the Billet Knife, you're going to have to buy a Billet Knife because this Billet Knife is crap, right? So I apologize, guys. I really do. I feel bad about that. And I, in hindsight, I shouldn't have given the quote until I had the stuff in my hand. So I'm going to see if they'll amend my quote or if they'll take it down or whatever. I don't know if they will. And I don't want to fight with them about it, right? Because I love Murphy's, and I don't think they were trying to be sneaky here. But there are some quality issues that I wish I'd known about before I gave the quote. So now you know. The final rating. How the heck do you rate something like this? Because the DVDs alone, 5 stars, right? So imagine the product was here's $120 worth of DVDs or downloads, and I'm going to sell them to you for $90, and I'll throw in a bunch of other stuff for free. Well, how is that not still 5 stars, right? Even if the stuff for free is not good. Well, most of the stuff for free is good. There's really just those few things that had some issues, and so I really struggled. I didn't know how to give this a star rating. So what I did was I rated each of the props that came in the kit. Right, I rated each thing, and then I averaged the rating, and then I averaged the rating of the DVDs, and it came out to something like 3.8 something stars. And I don't have, on my site, I have to either round down to 3.5 or round up to 4.0. So I rounded up to 4.0. So I gave it 4 stars with the stone status of gem. And the reason I rounded up instead of down is because if the Billet Knife wasn't even present, if the Knight's Tour wasn't even present, and if the Swami gimmicks were not present, and whatever the other things that I had a little bit of issue with, if they were not present, you're still getting 5 stars worth of instructions, 5-star quality worth of instruction, plus all the other things that were in the kit that are good. And so I didn't feel too bad rounding up to 4. I can't give it 5. I just can't. Even though the one part of it alone is 5 stars, right? So this is the moral dilemma of a reviewer, guys. So hopefully you whatever the star rating is, I mean, that is sort of mathematically based. I mean, it's based on ad copy integrity and product quality and all that. But regardless of the star rating, you now know exactly what you're going to get. And so whatever you just saw, if you like it, get it. If you don't like it, don't get it. Now you know. Hopefully that's everything. Thanks for watching this, guys. I really appreciate it. So now let's get on to the real reason we're here, which is for today's random iTunes song of the moment, which is, oh, nice, Gone at Last by Tammy Wynette. What the heck? Got some country today. I was kind of hoping we'd get 13 by Megadeth. Because I stood here 13 times. You guys know I grew up on classic country. I was raised on Hank and Patsy and Tammy Wynette and Loretta Lynn and Crystal Gale, Conway Twitty, Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, all those guys, right? I grew up on that. Sometime in the 80s, I discovered hard rock and metal, and it's all been downhill from there. But I still love country, and as you see. So that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. I know this video is probably way too freaking long, so thanks for your patience. I probably will be coming back soon enough. I mean, I will be doing another one. I told you I'm back in the business of doing reviews. But the next time I get on camera with a review, we'll be doing Lloyd Barnes' Pro Caps right here. So, thanks for watching. See y'all in the next one. Peace out.